Hello. Nice video. Good going. I like it. I'm going to really just for this one just reply to the one that you did for me, mostly because I don't really have much time really to be doing anything else. I'm just kind of taking a break from my freelance work because I'm tired of staring at little crawling crabs. Yeah, that's what I'm animating. Crabs. And other sea creatures. Anyhow, so, I wanted to first address the idea that for my statement to be true with the whole all religions or all faiths lead to the same place, that would have to mean that God, as whatever we define God as being, would have to be, psychopathic, kind of split personality psycho. I have to disagree with that. I had actually thought about that before because, the whole idea of like pantheons and everything, especially the old paganistic ones where you have like pantheons of just a whole bunch of them, like, Greek pantheon or Norse gods or, ancient Egypt, anything like that. There's always so many, so you think, well, okay, well, if you're saying that they all lead to the same place, they all lead to the same one source, then that must mean that it's psychotic. Well, not necessarily. So the thing about human culture and human brain is that we really need to label things and organize things so that we can handle them better. It makes it a lot easier on our psyches. So what the old cultures did, and a lot of times I would have to say this actually goes for present day too, is they would take traits that they can relate to and use those to label whatever the deity it is so that they can actually feel more connected to it. It's a little, for some people, it's a little daunting to say, hey, I'm going to connect to this, spiritual energy that is basically everything and nothing all at the same time. To some people, they just don't quite grasp it. So what they do is they say, okay, well, this suits my personality. This suits the culture that I was raised in, what I believe in. And therefore, I'm going to put these traits to it so that I can connect to it better. It's not perfect, but that's what people are doing. It's also not taking into, I think, what is actually what would be the pure source that every religion, if in the pure source, or every faith in its pure source would lead to begin with. So that's one of those things. And, it's the idea is that basically at that point what you're really getting is a cultural imprint, there we go, words, being added into one, a person's perception of that spiritual, entity, if you will. I'll be honest, I don't think of God as like an entity, a person, or anything like that. I actually think of it as more of like a natural energy source that is like a natural phenomenon like electricity or fire. It's just in a state that we don't have the science or capability of studying and measuring. This also goes into the whole idea of like having like, different, dimensions and everything to existence, which scientists have proven that there are more dimensions than what we see here with, the 3 dimensions of space and then time. They have actually shown that there's more than that. Sadly, I'm not an expert, but I do get the concept and, the basics of those theories. I do understand them. And based on that, I can see that, perhaps a spiritual energy, what we call necessarily God, might be just something that exists in these other dimensions at the same time. Something that's more evolved than we are. So, and in that sense, it could be a person, it could not be. I kind of prefer to see it as an energy source, nice and personal, but that's just my personal opinion. And that goes to the next thing I was going to bring up. Actually, there's 2 things. The first thing is the idea of having as you put, God's thumbprint on your life to show that you're on the right spiritual path. I've had that. Totally on where I'm at now. I have definitely had that happen several times. Strange things happen all the time. Like with mine, it's always like either some weird, just really, really strange set of usually good luck happens. And this is usually coupled with several moments of very strong things like deja vu or very strong dream work, things like that happen all the time. And that's kind of what shows me, what to look for like what might happen next or things to pay attention to. And I consider that my subconscious way of kind of saying, hey, you're going the right direction, keep going. Okay, so back to the other thing. The other thing, as far as God, and this is why I was like, impersonal God versus personal deity. With the personal deity, especially like what people like you that I've talked to tend to believe in and have faith in, is usually something that is omniscient, omnipotent, and benevolent. And the only thing is that logically I cannot reconcile the idea of that versus all of the level of suffering that happens to occur in this world. On the idea of like, okay, well, if this God wanted everybody to believe in him and was only going to be kind to those who believe in them, you know, there's plenty of people who do, who still suffer. There's plenty of people who don't suffer. And then, you know, does that mean that the people who don't believe in him that do suffer, are they being punished because they don't believe in him like that? I mean, it just doesn't seem so benevolent to me, you know? And I kind of like to go based off of the philosophical definition of God, which is a being of which none greater can be conceived. So, yeah. If you want to respond and answer the question of, you know, how can a benevolent God allow suffering to happen, and anything else, you know, feel free. Yay. And if Heather wants to put in a video, feel free. Yeah. Okay, I'm done now.